Welcome to 11 Plus Mastery, Numerical Reasoning Lesson 2. This lesson looks at addition and subtraction. First, we'll start with addition. In questions, addition can be asked for with a number of different words, including add, total, sum, combine, plus, and increase. To add, we write in columns, with each place value directly underneath each other. So looking at the example on the screen, for each number the units are underneath each other, the tens underneath each other, and the hundreds underneath each other. We then start adding from the smallest place value. In this example, that is the units place. 1 plus 6 gives me 7, and I write 7 underneath that column. I then continue to the next smallest column. 8 plus 1 is 9, and I write 9 underneath. Then finally 3 plus 2 gives me 5. This gives me the answer of 597. If when adding a column the answer is 10 or greater, I need to carry. To do this, I write the units underneath the column I'm adding, and I carry the tens place to the next column. In the example, I start with the smallest place value. 7 plus 9 equals 16. So I put the 6 under the column and I carry the 1. Then in my next column, 8 plus 7 is 15, plus the 1 I carried is 16, so I put 6 underneath and carry the 1. Then in the next column, 5 plus 6 is 11, plus the 1 I carried is 12. I have no more place values, so I write the 12 underneath. This gives me my answer of 1266. Adding decimals works in the same way. The decimal points going directly underneath each other. This means that we may have uneven number of digits to the right of the decimal point. We can add zeros to even the numbers up, but this is not essential. We then add as before, from the smallest place value, which in this case is the thousandths place. 1 plus 0 plus 0 gives me 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 4 is 17. So I put the 7 underneath and carry the 1. The decimal points go underneath each other. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 9 is 16, plus the 1 I carried is 17. There's no more place value, so I write 17 underneath. This gives the answer of 17.741. If numbers are missing, we need to work it out in the normal way from the smallest place value. So looking at our example, I need to look at the smallest place value first. 6 plus something gives me 5. So I need to ask 6 plus what gives me an answer ending in 5. Well, 6 plus 9 is 15, so I put 9 in the square. Because it comes to 15, the 5 will be written down and the 1 carried. I must carry this 1 as normal. Then 4 plus 1 is 5, plus what else will give me 8? Well, 5 plus 3 is 8, so it's 3 that is written in the second box. As that is 8, a number below 10, I do not need to carry, so I go straight to the next place value. 7 plus 3 is 10, so my full answer is 1085. Subtraction. As with addition, subtraction can be written in several ways. One very common way is difference. If you ask for the difference between two numbers, it is always subtraction. Other numbers used to mean subtraction include deduct, take away, take, reduce, minus, less. These all mean the same thing. As with addition, we write in columns with each place value directly underneath each other. We also start from the smallest place value. In this case, that is the units place. 7 take 4 is 3, and I write 3 under the column. I then continue with the next smallest place. 8 plus take 3 will give me 5. Then finally 5 take 1 is 4, giving the answer of 453. If the number I'm subtracting is larger than the number I'm subtracting from, then I need to borrow. Because each place value is worth 10 times more than the place value to the right, when I borrow a number from one place value, it is worth 10 in the place value to the right. And I can write that by putting a 1 in front of the number already there. So looking at the question, I have 4 take 5. 4 take 5 I can't do, so I need to borrow. And I borrow from the next place value in the tens column. And so the 2 becomes 1. And the 1 that is borrowed makes a 414, which I write by putting a 1 in front. Now I can do 14 take 5, which gives me 9. Moving to the next smallest column, 1 take 7 I can't do, so I borrow from the 6. The 6 becomes 5, and my tens place becomes 11 by putting a 1 in front of the 1 already there. 11 take 7 gives me 4, then finally the last column, 5 take 3 gives me 2. This gives the answer of 249. Sometimes when I borrow, the number's got a 0, so I have to borrow from the next non-zero place value. So looking at the question on the board, 1 take 4 I can't do, so I need to borrow. But my tens place is a 0, so I can't borrow from there. Therefore I have to borrow from the 4, making the 4 3, and the next place value smaller, 10. But I need to borrow from there, making the hundreds place 9 and the tens place 10. But I need to borrow from there, making the tens place 9 and my units place 11. Now I can do the subtractions before, starting with the smallest place value. 11 take 4 is 7, 9 take 6 is 3, 9 take 3 is 6, and 3 take nothing is 3, giving the answer of 3,637. If I want to subtract decimals, again the decimal points must go directly under each other. This time zeros must be added so that each number has the same number of digits after the decimal point. Now I can answer as before, starting with the smallest place value. 0 take 1 I can't do, so I borrow from the 2. The 2 becomes 1, and my hundredths place becomes 10. But I need to borrow from there, making that 9, and my original 0, 10. So now I can do the subtraction, starting with my smallest place value, the thousandths place. 10 take 1 is 9. 9 take 6 is 3. Then 1 take 3 I can't do, so I need to borrow. So I borrow from the 4, making the 4 3, and the 1 11. 11 take 3 is 8. Decimal points go directly underneath each other. 3 take 5 I can't do, so I borrow from the 6, making the 6 5 and the 3 13. 13 take 5 is 8, 5 take 1 is 4, and 3 take nothing is 3. This gives me my answer of 348.839. If numbers are missing, again I need to work it out in the normal way from the smallest place value, and I must borrow as normal. So looking at the units place, something take 5 equals 9. Well, 14 take 5 equals 9, which will give me a 4 in the units place. However, because it's 14, I must have got that 4 by borrowing from the 8. So the 8 becomes 7, and a 4 is placed in the units column. 14 take 5 is 9. The next column, I now have 7 take 8. I cannot do 7 take 8, so I need to borrow from the 9. So the 9 becomes 8, and the 7, 17. 17 take 8 is 9. Finally, in the third column, 8 take something is 1. Well, 8 take 7 is 1, and I've now completed the question. In the final section, we're going to look at addition and subtraction being opposites. So if I know in addition, then that answer minus either of the numbers being added will give the other number. So on the screen you've got 384 plus 512 equals 896. Therefore, 896 take 512 is 384, or 896 take 384 will equal 512. I can also use my knowledge that addition and subtraction are opposites to work backwards in questions. This is useful for something called number bonds, and later when we look at algebra. So 36 was added to a number and the answer was 60. What was the number? That means I know that whatever number I had originally plus 36, so I added 36 to it, gave me 60. So to get to 60, I added 36. So when I go backwards to the number, I'm going to do the opposite, which is take 36. So 60 take 36 gives me 24. So my original number must have been 24.